Hello, everyone, and welcome to joining a quick little insight by myself and Coach Rona, who is our DEI coach, talking about the upcoming webinar that you're going to want to send your staff to, at least your admin, your HR, your hiring personnel because it's going to be awesome. So this is a good one to delegate, sending somebody on your team to this webinar or several people. So Rona, thank you for joining me. Hello.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me, Kristen.
Super excited because not only do you bless our team with so many amazing nuggets and helping us as we grow and build. But this Thursday, you're hosting our monthly webinar on inclusive hiring practices. And I just wanted to get you on here and share with the audience a little bit about what's coming and why this matters. So thank you for joining us on today of all days. I heard a little birdie told me it's your birthday today.
Yes, it is. And what a gift to be able to be with you and with everyone else online today.
Awesome, awesome. It's definitely a cool thing to you get to celebrate in more ways than one, right? Oh, and we've got a kitty in
Oh,
here.
hi, Kitty. She
We
wanted to
are
come say
live.
happy birthday.
So listen, I wanted to I hope you're having an awesome day and thank you for joining us. One of the things with hiring is that we're always trying to pull a larger audience, a larger potential selection of candidates to join our team. And a key to that is always wanting to surround ourselves with individuals from all different perspectives in my book. I mean, it's one of my passion areas is to really build from within and build a core that's incredible with all types of diverse backgrounds. Can you share a little bit with individuals, just in general, DEI? What is it? Why does it matter? In a nutshell, I know that's a big
I
topic.
I know it's a whole field, but and it's a whole thing. But thank you for asking that. Just to start off, DEI. First of all, what I think is most important is to always separate those terms. Right? We get so used to saying, "Oh, DEI, we're going to DEI, do this," but to start with the diversity, moving to the equity and to the inclusion, and I think a lot of different organizations use other terms that are good for them, which are belonging, things like that. So if you start with the diversity piece and the diversity of thought, the diversity of employees, the diversity of people, the diversity of abilities, like all of those things are what we start with, and the importance of that. So not just your book or my book, but this research of how diverse teams are are scientifically better performing teams. So if we're starting with that research from 10, some 20 years back, then we're all on the same page about having a diverse team is the best thing for us, for as people and for our organizations. Then moving to the equity piece of understanding that not everybody started in the same place. So having an organizational structure and systems that account for that. And then the difficult part, the most important part is the inclusion. And that's not just bringing a diverse team on and throwing them in and saying, good luck with your day. Inclusion is making sure that the diverse teams that you did bring on board feel included. And not just a matter of feeling and being nice and being kind and respectful. It is that they're being supported, they're being and they do feel like it is their space. I mean, that is a huge thing, and a lot of systems can be implemented to impact that. But I mean, employee resource groups, like I have a lot of thoughts on those kinds of things. So the diversity, equity, and inclusion being thought in in the individual ways, but then at the end of the day, we're bringing it all together.
Together. That's
So
awesome. Thank you. Those I was trying to pop up little phrases as you were going through it, because you're so articulate with explaining and helping us all see that they are three distinct DE&I, diversity, equity, and inclusion, are three distinct elements, but then we have to bring them together, right? Ultimately. And right now it is such an employee market out there, right? I mean, it's just our hiring and onboarding boot camp, we see it. When I'm talking with clients, we're seeing it. And that's just a product of people recognizing they can choose, I think, these days where they spend their time and where they work, and wanting to find the right fit, right, of where they are, which is such an important part. So I know on Thursday you're teaching this amazing webinar on inclusive hiring practices, and they're going to get some amazing materials and content in that webinar and in the workbook. Tell us a little bit about the 7 ways DEI matter to your hiring and your organization. Actually, don't give us all 7, but just maybe give us a nugget or 2 of what they can look forward to when you walk their staff through the 7 elements that are really going to help.
Yeah, thanks for that too. In terms of diverse teams and inclusion, I kind of put them in categories in terms of, so the first category being recruiting and hiring.
Yeah.
And there are several bullets under that. The second being, once you have, like I mentioned before, the employees, a diverse team on board, what do you do with them? How do you make it their space? And then, thirdly, which is, I know that I've gotten feedback that I should be putting this up top for organizations, is the productivity and the financial bottom line. How that, the big companies that are doing it well, the Coca-Colas and Googles, that their bottom line is much better with a diverse team. So in terms of that, I'm going to go into obviously not everything on Thursday, but just starting with the job description. When you have language out there, is the language that you're putting into the job titles and job descriptions attracting a certain crowd and alienating a certain crowd?
Yeah.
Those kinds of things are very important. When people are looking for jobs to begin with, they're going straight to your website and looking and seeing, I mean, is there career support? Is there a career website, a link, or career page? Is the language there? Does that make me feel like it's a place for me? Am I going to belong there? Or, and then going into, LinkedIn or Indeed, looking at the job descriptions. Ooh, do I feel like that's they're speaking my language?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Do I feel like this organization is going to support me? And those kinds of things are very indicative in just the job description and what's included in that. So that's just we're going to be able to dive as deep as we can in 30 minutes or whatever for the webinar.
It's awesome. And it's such a big part of just, I know you talked about like that productivity part and whatnot, but and yes, profitability comes, but I really think that when you recruit and hire great people and have strong onboarding practices and an onboarding university, you help give that person so much more confidence at the front end where they thrive. They really feel supported, and that's that inclusivity, and they feel like they're a voice that's being listened to and heard, and that there are changes that get made based on that. And then, so I would actually amend this one to actually be hiring and onboarding equals productivity, increased productivity, because in my mind, that's where it really comes down to a lot of the times, right? Like it's the, if everything's being done the right way, it's going to be built up that people feel like they can shine. They feel like they can really contribute and be a part of something, and they're going to work so much stronger. I mean, they're going to, I want to say harder, but they're going to, like they're more effective, they're more intentional. They feel like they are in the right place. And that's when I think the increased productivity comes in as well, at least from my standpoint as an owner.
Absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the, I'm not good with analogies, but the hammer on the nail with the head.
Yeah.
But it is thrive, and it is how can this organization get any employee to come to work every day and do the best that they can, and that's only if your employees feel like they belong and
Mhm.
that's a place for them and that they're valued. And so in between the recruiting and hiring and onboarding piece and then ta-da, the increased productivity is the in between there. Is there professional development for everybody within that? Do I have hope um of increasing my responsibilities? Is the evaluation process consistent, transparent, and fair? And then what do we do with that? So there's a lot um, in between before the productivity suddenly comes that leads to the retention part. And I know that that's a whole nother webinar in 2022 about employee retention.
Yeah.
But trust me, the inclusion piece has a lot to do with that. And, I mean, this is a whole nother webinar, but working virtual, working in person, forcing people to come back, certain groups of people to come back on the organization's terms, not on the employees' terms. That is a whole thing in terms of retention and
Yeah.
where people are finding, I mean, anytime an organization is forcing something onto employees that are not what they had in mind or where they work best, you're going to have some issues. So
Awesome. Um, well, I was just putting down there, get your team signed up for this inclusive hiring practices webinar. It's going to be incredible because I've seen the workbook, I've seen the PowerPoint, the materials that you're going to be covering on Thursday. And so excited for you to be sharing such amazing materials and content with people. I hope many owners get their teams signed up, their admins, their HR, their various personnel that are part of the hiring and onboarding process in their company, because it's just so much great stuff. Speaking of which, let's give them a little cheat sheet. There's lots of webinar goodies. So you have a cheat sheet on inclusive language. Loved that. It is incredible. And I think it's such an employee market right now that reaching diverse candidates, it's an amazing list. How I presume that's something that's taken you quite some time to compile. It's a really amazing list and a bunch of things on there that I had never seen before. How did that list come to be?
yeah, so that list is more of a product of a mentality, and
Yeah.
that is an inclusive mentality. So if we're under the mentality that we're just going to post our job announcements on two platforms, and hey, whoever sees it, that's who we're going to get. That is not an inclusive mentality. If you're looking at, I want to reach these groups, this is what diversity means in my company, and these are our goals, and this is what I want to do, then you have to kind of go where they are. So the list that you see are, I mean, just to give examples, there are women executives, handicap services, veterans. Where do I reach them?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so they have special places, and it is up to the organization to go out and reach them. If we're really truly trying to implement the equity piece,
Hmm.
then it's it's the mentality that not everybody has that access
Yeah.
or has had that access or training or other things. So those sites kind of provide for that. And it is, yeah, it's more work than posting on the
Yeah.
two platforms that we
Big
normally
ones.
post on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely going and finding people. Diverse candidates are out there, and they are going to take a little longer to find, but it's going to be worth it.
Well, I've got to tell you, I am super, super excited to actually investigate some of those ourselves, because you listed a couple of new ones on there that I'm not as familiar with. And I was like, ooh, this is great. this is like gold. I mean, I was all excited by it. So, yes, everyone, lots of webinar goodies in all of our webinars. We always try to bless the participants with lots of hands-on usable materials that they can then implement and use in their day-to-day operations. So this webinar is going to be amazing. So what if somebody were on the fence, it's a busy day and they're not sure whether they should jump on or not jump on, what would you say is one of the key things that should be going through their head of why it's important to be proactive and get on this webinar and listen to some of this stuff for the hiring to come in the, say, next 6 months?
Yeah, I want to say that I think the work that I do and the people that I meet, everybody's on a journey.
Yeah.
So you, me, everybody is on a journey of understanding, and I think that I'm approaching, the group that joins us on Thursday. I definitely want to approach you with the idea that it's going to be a safe space, and no question is a silly question, and that I am going to have a couple of poll questions out there if you are one of those that likes to participate. And also, it'll be kind of people getting a flavor for how I work, what I do, and hopefully give an opportunity for people to be able to reach out and talk to me, sign up for coaching, and understanding that not everybody is in the same place, and that's okay. And if it's something that you watch and you want to think about
Mm-hmm.
for a month or two and then come back to it and go, yeah. And so, I mean, with new information, everyone's in a different spot and everyone is in a different place with receiving that information. So I just would, like to open it up to, I understand that Thursday may not be the day, hopefully it is, but that, you can take your time and revisit the idea. And then, you know what, there are people that are going to join us that are all over this and they're going to be like, I know all this already. So we can dive a little deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
and I know that there's always opportunities as well for just having Q&A and answering questions. And listen, I think we all have some questions that can get out there and that will be relevant, and it's always great to get affirmation that what we're thinking is the right thing. It's, so those are great. It's great to have a coach that helps you with that, but even in a webinar, that's it, that in a safe place, that's a great thing to do. So listen, I'm going to share just real quickly. This is the for all of you that are out there, this is the page for getting on and getting signed up for the webinar. And that way you can get your team signed up for it as well. And for those of you that are members of the Business Mastery College, you always have access to this. So the recording will get posted in our Business Mastery College as well. But yes, I want to make sure people get signed up, and we want to help support you all on this journey. So get signed up Thursday, November 10th, 12 to 3 p.m. Rona, thank you so much for jumping on with us, and happy birthday again. In fact, you even have some love from Facebook. A little happy birthday, Rona, out there. Very cool. I hope you enjoy your day, and thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing this with so many great people. I know you work with us as a company, working with our clients as a UYB coach, and I am so excited as part of National Entrepreneur Month as well that you're out there. We're getting a bunch of this out there, and I know the plan is after the webinar to share even more nuggets about what you talk about, because it's just such an important element. So thank you for doing this webinar for us.
Great. Thanks for having me, Kristen.
Awesome. Have a great birthday.
Okay.
And
Thanks.
enjoy your day. Bye.
Okay. Bye.